Another question about our most of the people in our friends, also I am, have the gap in our CVs. For example, in the last 5 years, some of them 3 years. What can say in the interviews? Because it's so hard to explain the Turkey's situation in Finland. If we try to explain this to the people, most of the people doesn't understand. What can we say about the CV gaps in the job applications?
So you mean gaps in the CV?
Yeah, there is no job work. For example, I give a space to the working in the last 3 years. I didn't work anywhere. And they took my CV in the last 10 years. I work in the last 7 years, and in the last 3 years, I don't work anywhere. And they ask about this. What can I say?
Well, what have you been doing?
I am generally, I have been learning the IT area.
Okay.
I am trying to improve myself.
So then you need to be writing that. There's always the question that, and it sounds funny, but you know, the recruiter is sort of identifying, okay, who are the safest bets, if you like, you know, and there's this expectation, if you like, that people in IT will find work. And I know that junior ones, you know, junior professionals, it's hard. So then I would open up, you know, make a bit of a education and work experience CV that where you have them both. So, you know, you've been working at such and such, then you've been studying at such and such, work at such and such, then doing further courses, Udemy and whatever, you know, you've been doing boot camps and etc., and have them on your timeline, so that your timeline, even though it's not full work experience timeline, but it's still a sort of an, you know, a self-explanatory timeline, so that the reader reads, okay, you know, when you haven't been working, you've been still busy improving yourself. And I think that's the best, you know, be transparent and blunt. You know, that's the good old Finnish way, I suppose, as we were talking about previously.
Yes, thank you very much. The honesty is so important in this topic. There's another question. It's about the testers. I know most of the friends, a lot of friends trying to be testers, and they are going to the boot camps. And the question about the vacancies, what do you think in Finland? Do they need testers too much? This area they should choose. Also, what is the most important skills they should have?
It's hard for me to sort of be precise about it, but I think in general, when it comes to robotic testing, automated testing, I think it's you know, it's not a bad idea at all. And the key reason why I say that is that, you know, when you start learning, say RPA, for example, you know, you actually there is two ways well, many ways of utilizing the skills, but there's at least, you know, there's the testing role, whereby you created the testing, you create automated testing for the software, but then also there's a lot of different processes at companies that are automated, and when you can do RPA for software, you're then able to also be automating different processes at companies, and that opens another job avenue for people. And yeah, that's kind of like my first gut feeling, you know, when commenting about, you know, is testing, you know, a good option or not. And I think that the threshold can be a little bit lower to get into the testing roles, but then again, you know, testing as a sole role is I think a little bit becoming rarer, because I think the idea is more and more that the teams take care of the different testing responsibilities and etc. But yes, that's what I think about. Then briefly, I see there's Leo raising a hand, and before that there was a question of, is gender important? I think gender is not important, but I think, of course, as a female, it can feel like it's more difficult to get into the IT work, but I think that females are very much welcomed. And there's a group called Mimmit Koodar that is to support females to get into coding. So if you I'll write it down, and that's something that definitely should all the females in Finland who are interested in joining the coding profession, should sort of check out their material and etc. And because it's not too easy to get in. Then Leo, sorry, just briefly tackling these questions before we finish off. Leo is asking, what's the advice for entrepreneurs who have the idea but lack the IT knowledge? My opinion is get funding. I think or then you need to start communicating with different colleges or education institutes where you can find then perhaps coding students who might be interested in trying out different things. But otherwise, you need to have a really good idea, and of course, if you set up a company and find someone who's willing to do sweat equity, so you share the business with the coder, and your business idea is so good and it's so lucrative and potential that one is willing to start work before finding funding, can be done. But again, coders know 90% of startups fail. So I think, then the case needs to be really, really, really good. And yes, I think that's...
The time is about to finish. You are so busy nowadays. The last question, and we can finish. Maybe we couldn't answer all of the questions, but they can ask you maybe after the program. Nowadays you change your job, and I'm not sure what's your position right now. Our friends can connect with you with LinkedIn after
definitely.
This program. They can send you their CVs. Maybe you can find a suitable position for them.
It's hard to say that per se, but what I can definitely do is, if I share my LinkedIn profile, definitely send in the connection invites. Happy to connect with new people, and I can I can create perhaps a brief update just now, and that's where I share that, hey, there's quite a few junior developers and other IT folks that would be willing to search for jobs. Hey, friends in IT, are you in a situation that you are hiring at the moment? Have a look, and if you comment underneath, for example, that can be one testing. And of course, I will go through, and there's I've started to work for Elisa Polustar, and I can let also my colleagues who are hiring managers know that this is what we are doing, and if there are any sort of roles that one might be suitable or such like, and definitely always a good idea to check the situation.
Yes, thank you very much. Lastly, our friend Mohammed want to say something.
Yeah.